sheep, guys, just be aware of that. Yeah, they can cause some havoc.
Dead, roadkill.
Good spotting, mate.
You guys see that hawk back there on a piece of roadkill? You know, sometimes they get their talons stuck in it and they can't take off and get out of the way, you know?
I don't know about you guys, but if I'm on the start of a train in this roadkill, I'll either pull out a leg or go like that so the other people can see it and avoid it, because they won't be able to see it for your bike.
Yep, quite often ride, just sort of point down like that with your left hand or whatever.
Okay, guys, out of the coast here, looks like a pretty good place to stop and have a bit of a rest, so we'll pull up and do just that.
Sounds good.
Nice spot.
So, how do the guys think the judges will respond to their riding ability?
I'd hate to think what the judges will make of me, but hopefully haven't done anything too drastically wrong.
I do have a good riding ability. There are patches where I can improve just with the cornering and just with riding in groups. I mean, I haven't done it before and learned a great deal with this experience.
There's a few habits I have which I have to think about a little more, I think. You know, I tend to follow a little close. I tend to sit quite close to the outside lane, to the white line. So yeah, all in all, it's not too bad. But yeah, there's a few things that I certainly have learned.
Well, that's interesting.
Peter, he's demonstrated some good technique and good skills, and I would classify him as the better of the three riders by far. However, he's got some old habits that he's going to have to look at, I believe, and that's his lane changing and his road rage. They are concerned to me.
You look at Pete looking through a corner, braking before the corner, the braking's all out of the way, he's getting the right position, he's looking through, he's powering through. That's all, to me, shows a reasonably advanced rider. Whereas Jamie, I don't know, I think he's competent, but I don't see any classy touches of riding style.
There's not a consistency there which needs to be, and that shows even in the city riding. I mean, to go through with those pedestrians already on the crossing right in front of him, you know, and the little things like that, his, you know, risk recognition and scanning ahead, it just wasn't.
And as a courier driver, a rider, you would expect that that's the sort of thing he would be looking at for, because that's what he's used to.
That's right.
And I think Dan, you know, he's got a bunch of things that he can fine-tune there. He's riding a small displacement, high-revving bike. He needs to use it more like a rapier, you know. He needs to pick his line carefully. He needs to get his braking right. He's got to fine-tune all those throttle brake clutch movements.
This will be the interesting thing is, after all this, what are these guys actually going to do with the things that they think that they need? They'll all come up with something that they think that they've learnt, but will they actually do it the day after tomorrow?
So, we've seen some interesting things on the first day of riding, both in the city and on the open road. Today, we thought we'd take them off the road and put them on the track to get instruction from none other than former world champion rider, Aaron Slight. Aaron's had an incredible career as one of the world's leading motorcycle competitors. So yeah, you could say he knows a thing or two about riding a bike.
Meeting these three guys today, I think it's going to be very, very good to get the racetrack, because it is comparable to being on the street. The racetrack is a real safe place to play. You know, you learn a lot about riding motorbikes, and you learn a lot about the skill it takes to ride a motorbike. You learn a lot about your motorbike. There's a lot of advertising around now on what not to do. You know, it's not what to do here in this situation, what to do here in the other situation. What I like to portray today is to what to do. You know, we need someone telling us what is the right thing to do. It's time to get started, but before the boys can even think of speeding off, Aaron decides to give them all a quick introduction to track riding.
Okay guys, we're just heading out on the racetrack. The first thing I like to do when I get on the racetrack is just to have a bit of a look around, just to acclimatise yourself with what's going on, familiarise yourself with the racetrack. Also have a look out for any debris. Yeah, you never know if there's a bit of rubber left over from car racing. Like heading into this corner here, a few stones on the outside, lucky enough they're not on line, so we just stay under those. Heading out of the corner. One of the other things I like to do when I go around the racetrack is just to have a look at marker points. Yeah, you might be able to use them later on. So we're heading up into here. See, there's a drain that goes across the track, different colour seal right there. Maybe later we can use it as a break point. And then we're going to come in here, we're going to clip the apex, even that little piece of blue paint sticking out there, that might be an apex point. On the way out, going over another drain just over here. Yeah, we can use all these points later on when we get going a bit faster. So heading down the middle straight here, back down to the hairpin. Still looking around, we haven't done a complete lap yet, so it's just a good idea just to even to look for an escape route even. Come into the hairpin here, if you outbrake yourself, what are you going to do? You put a turn in, then you stand the bike up and run straight on. And then you remember not to brake on that lime at the outside of the track because it's not sealed anymore. Heading out of the hairpin, once again looking for markers because it's a big wide corner here and you're going to get a bit lost because there's going to be a double apex. So we'll sort of turn in these two skid marks here, turning in, bring the bike back down, probably going to clip the apex on that joint of the seal, and that's a lap.
Great for all the bikers just to, in slow motion, be like a snake behind Aaron on that run. I think it's pretty useful.
Exactly, and also the speed doesn't have to be great. You know, you've got to do these things at a slow speed. If you do them slowly, the fast things will take care of themselves.
Now we're going to split the riders up and see how they perform individually on the track. First up, it's Jamie, who reckons the track is the perfect way to push your bike to its limit.
I think it gives you the opportunity to find out how your bike performs if you're pushing it a little bit, so which you can use on the road. You know how hard you can brake and what sort of lean angles you can do. So if you get yourself in trouble, you can actually, you know where you're at.
It'd be interesting to see if his complacent attitude on the road carries across to the track.
Yeah, it will be.
Okay, Jamie, we're just getting out on the racetrack now, so just ease into it, take it really easy on these opening laps. Remember what we talked about before, you just want to have a good look around, make sure there's no debris, make sure you know where the track goes, and then we'll just get faster and faster and faster.
Excellent. So I'll start off for really, really slow and finish up just plain slow.
You'll be right, but remember you've got to warm the bike up too. You're not only going to have yourself warmed up, but tyres are cold, brakes are cold, engine oil cold, and also your forearms and yourself is very, very cold.
Comments about warming up is absolutely right. Both the bike and the rider need to warm up. Yep. Tyres, oil, and you need to relax a little bit. You know,
tyres especially, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we've completed a lap now, so we're just getting a bit more warmed up. So we'll just increase the pace a little bit more and just slowly work on that. But remember your lines, try and make all your apexes because if you miss one apex, that stuffs up the next one.
Right.
So it's all about being smooth and fast.
All right, so I'm looking for my braking markers and my turn-in point.
Down here, that braking marker about now, and the turn-in point about now. Yeah, I think your turn-in point before was just a little too late at this low speed. Just turn a little bit earlier.
Okay, I'll get that on the next one. The hairpins I always find a bit tricky.
Yeah. Start to straight line it now to the half track. Then slide it right down, drop it on its side, clip the curb, now squeeze it out of there, out to 3/4 track. Perfect.
After a few more laps, Jamie decides to push himself a little faster. Maybe even too fast.
On the brakes, tip-in point now. Let the bike run out wide, out the other end. That's it. Yeah, some nice lines. That's really good. And not so fast on these bumps. Slow down for these bumps. You're not too quick. That's it. Squeeze it open. And just watch these bumps. I think you should keep the corner speed down. It is an obstacle. The bumps are there. Just slow it down here. Over the bumps, and then increase the speed. Then squeeze the throttle open, yeah. You're still scaring me a little bit how confident you are over those bumps by the vans. Just in that left-hand corner, slow it down for the bumps, then squeeze the throttle open after it. Don't try to carry too much corner speed over the rough part of the track.
That's an interesting comment, isn't it? You're scaring me. I mean, this guy's a world superbike rider and he's being scared by somebody going over these bumps. Yeah. And yet he's not throttling off.
That's right, and that is frightening because you get that gut feeling this person is about to outride his ability.
Yep.
But overall, I mean, I see him starting to pick up some nice lines. Yep. I see him starting to execute a bit nicer.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So maybe Jamie needs to push his bike just a little less. Next up, it's Dan, whose nerves are starting to show.
Haven't ridden on a track before, but looking forward to it today. corner's going to be quite good, and looking forward to learning with Aaron on how to take a corner quite nicely. I mean, I'm not nervous of making a dick of myself. It's going to happen anyway, somewhere. But you can only learn from your experience, I guess.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Dan.
After you, Dan.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, we're heading out of the track. It's just like heading down a road. You better check out what's going on. You check out if it's wet, dry, any debris anywhere.
So is this where you start getting like familiar with the bike and start, you know, just making sure you're warmed up and everything like that?
Yeah, exactly. Just warm the tyres up. Don't really worry too much about the line at the moment if you don't want to. Just a good look around so you know where you are.
Dan, obviously, of the three, is the one that we've seen experiencing the greatest challenges when it comes to braking and clutch throttle brake. I think potentially he might find it the hardest to take instruction here.
Okay, now we've done a lap. Just try and get onto the line where you think the line is, and we'll work on that.
Dan's still pretty straight up and down.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be confident in leaning that bike over.
And into our next left-hander up here, the fast left, is those really bad bumps with a joint in the seal. So what I like to do here is just, you come around, and as you go over those bumps, you're actually off the gas just before it, and then just squeeze the gas open a little bit as you go over the bump so the weight's not on the front wheel. So right here, just squeeze open the gas so you haven't got all the weight on the front tyre.
That's quite good, eh? It feels a lot better.
Yeah, if you're going off the gas, you get all the weight on the front tyre and then it'll push on the bump real bad.
Yeah, that's good. You do want to unload that front wheel.
Yes.
Yeah. He's still not clipping the apex there, is he? I mean, no. He's probably a little bit tighter on the apexes than Jamie, but he's still far from clipping the apex.
Yeah. And this is the good thing about a track. This is where he can explore the limits of the lean of the bike.
Exactly.
And at this stage, it doesn't appear as though he's actually doing that to the same degree as the other guys are.
Okay, here we go, down here. Now just look at your markers. So we'll get out of this corner here and we'll head down to the next one. Remember those white marks on the side of the road? There was 3 of them sticking out. So at the first white mark that's sticking out, we apply the brakes. And here it comes, there's a white mark, apply the brakes, yeah. Second white mark, third one out, tip in. That's it. Tip in, apex, use all the track on the way out. Good one, that's it, excellent.
That felt quite good, that corner, eh?
With Dan, I get the feeling that his mind is absolutely on the job, but he's a bit uptight.
Yep.
I mean, I reckon he should go and get an aromatherapy massage, something like that, relax completely, and then do it again and again and again and relax into it. I think maybe having, you know, the world-famous Aaron Slate on his shoulder is tensing him up a little bit. He needs to just relax and do it again and again and again.
As a sensitive new age guy, which particular aroma would you recommend?
Aaron may have heard the judge's comment about Dan needing to loosen up. Check out this little candid on-track moment.
Just a group hug.
I think the last thing Dan was expecting was a little mid-course hug from a former world champion.
Yeah.
That's enough of that, all right? We're on the track.
Sorry to take your mind off the job.
Can we cut that one out, guys?
No.
And it's nice to see your riding position. You've got your balls of your feet on the foot pegs. It's a really good place. Have your balls of your feet, not the arch of your feet, because then you can sort of dance around on the foot pegs and move your weight around, which is really good. A lot of people sit there with their arch of their feet and they can't move around on the bike at all.
Now, I unfortunately, I disagree with Aaron relating to the feet on the actual foot pegs. The feet should be in the arches, and so they're close to the use of the gear lever and the brake, particularly for road riders or the average road rider. For what he's saying here on the track, I think it's ideal because he is actually in the position to easily move his seat, as he says, to the left and to the right.
Yep.
But we do not want a person who's just on a 250 on a learner licence or restricted licence trying this sort of technique around the streets. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot about track that could be transferred to the road. This one is something that certainly isn't. If you need to stop, you want your quickest possible reaction time. If that means you've got to lift your foot up, move it forward and get it on the brake as opposed to just tap your toe down,
That's time
then
wasted.
that's potentially 75 metres of space.
That's right,
Definitely.
and gone.
And just watch these stones on the outside here.
You nearly got caught on them last time.
Yeah, I was trying to distract you. Here's those marks, brake, third mark, tip in. Use the road on the way out, use it over there, yep, that's it.
Dan seems to have taken to the track pretty well. Let's see what happens when Pete gets out there. And now remember, Pete used to race motocross and road bikes and is certainly no stranger to the track.
I've done a lot of road racing on various types of bikes, but when you're here at a track, you know, especially with someone like Aaron Slight, obviously you're always going to learn something. I mean, he's Aaron Slight, you know, so I mean, it doesn't matter how good you think you are or how much time you've done on the track, there's always something to learn.
Pete's got a good attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, this is the first time I've been to this track and ridden round, and so when I go to a new circuit, I look for sort of an out plan. Like down there into the hairpin, I'm looking ahead and I can see a lime road. So if I out-brake myself, I've got an out plan. It's a bit like riding on the road. I'm always riding within myself and you know, have a little bit left, so if something happens, I can swerve in time or actually apply the brakes and make a manoeuvre. If someone's going to pull out in the car, I can look for a clear bit of road to pull over and go around them, or brake hard enough to miss the car. So the circuit's very, very similar to the road. You're always looking and mindful of things around you.
Pete's clearly looking through the corner already.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the difference in the way he's looking and what we saw with Dan.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things to me is if you listen to what Pete said while he was on the bike compared to the others, he said bugger all because he was absolutely concentrating on what Aaron was saying in the bike.
Yes.
You know, there was no attitude, there was no ego there. He was just riding the bike, looking ahead, listening to the coach. It was nicely focused, which I quite like.
I'm not sure what you do, Pete, but I ride on the road like no one's seen me. So, you know, that people going along, they haven't seen you, you can move.